I was moving away from Dayton, Ohio, and worried about the leadership vacuum I was going to be creating in the 501c3 organization that I had created, Dayton Vintage Dance. Now, being the leader of a vintage dance community, I go to conventions and workshops all over the country, learning the latest scholarship on historical dances in a variety of eras. I've been to Stanford University, Newport, Rhode Island, Prague, you get the idea. To make sure the new leaders had the training they were going to need, I threw a dance week in Dayton. A typical dance week is a full schedule of themed educational activities and events. Home base is usually on a college campus with excursions to other locations. It's like going to an AASLH or AAM conference. For the Dayton Historic Dance Week, we had 6 days of classes, a tour of the downtown YMCA and a vintage bathing suit pool party, a tour of the Wright brothers' home at Hawthorne Hill, an excursion to the National Museum of the Air Force, a visit to the Packard Museum, a vaudeville show, an opening night tiki ball, a Civil War ball, a jazz night ball, a Gilded Age ball, a Wizard of Oz tea dance, and a fancy dress ball with a fairy tale theme. Talking about staffing, budget, and organization, all three of those things are interconnected. The organization is all done in increments. You start with the small staff and one-star teacher to teach classes and run one dance. Once a certain threshold of attendees registers, you can add live music. Then when another threshold is reached, you can add another teacher. Rinse and repeat until the schedule is full. I pulled in a lot of favors to bring everything together. All the teachers reduced their fees so that we could have live music almost every night. I taught for one of the German clubs in town, so they let me have their beautiful hall in exchange for some lessons. We were able to get one hall for $25 by holding a tea dance in the afternoon instead of having a ball in the evening. The YMCA let us have a vintage bathing suit swimming party after a tour of their historical building in exchange for permission to post photos of us. I also wrote a successful grant that funded a vaudeville night that was open to the community. Every night was a separate themed event in its own right, which required a lot of delegation. Each one of the teachers was responsible for the programming of one ball. I hired the band for each event, then put the band and teacher in touch with each other and removed myself from the conversation. The grant was considered professional development for one of my dancers who assembled the vaudeville show. Once all of these systems are in place, the execution was simply a matter of follow-through. Having several venues that fit the theme and did not require decorations simplified matters. I also deliberately had very low-maintenance events as part of the programming. All I had to do at the museums was greet people as they arrived and pay the bill for group admission. The dance week offered 17 hours of lessons, 17 hours of dance practice time in a contextual setting, and 6.5 days of bonding and networking with vintage dance leaders from all over the country. The best evaluation is the success of my goal. It has been 5 years since the dance week, and Dayton Vintage Dance is still thriving, thanks to the leadership of those people who attended in 2018.